The message arrived when the city was supposed to be asleep. 11:51 p.m. My phone lit up against the darkness of my bedroom, bathing the ceiling in a cold blue glow. Outside, Miami shimmered like a grid of fireflies, beautiful, distant, and indifferent. The text wasn't long. Didn't need to be. Austin. Kelsey, the family fund investors are flying in for the party Friday night. We need the penthouse. You should probably just stay at your apartment. I read it once. Then again. Then I watched another notification appear beneath it. My father, Gregory, the head of the Harper legacy, the man obsessed with reputation, had hearted my brother's message. Not argued with it. Not clarified it. Not defended me. He endorsed it. In one small digital gesture, I was officially disposable. This wasn't a request. It was a quiet eviction wrapped in polite language. Drop a comment right now. Where are you listening from and what time is it for you? I want to know who's in this community with me. I didn't cry. I didn't fire back an angry text. I didn't even feel rage. What I felt was something sharper, clarity. It was 11:52 p.m. I got out of bed, crossed the room and opened my laptop. They had just made a business decision. So would I. I logged into the admin portal for Aperture Holdings LLC, the shell company I had created 6 months earlier after a quiet acquisition of my first app. No press, no fanfare, just a $160,000 payout sitting cleanly in a business account they knew nothing about. For years, I had been invisible money, the silent backbone of the Harper family's grand image. While my brother Austin was paraded as the golden child, I was funding the stage. I had been paying the lease on my father's Gregory Fund office, his premium investment software, his cloud storage, his financial journals and analytics platforms. All of it flowed quietly through Aperture Holdings. No applause. No gratitude. Just expectation. At 12:01 a.m., I opened the billing section for my father's commercial lease. My LLC was the guarantor. My card was the payment source. I hovered over the toggle, autopay on. I clicked cancel. A warning appeared. This will terminate the agreement. Are you sure? I didn't hesitate. I pressed confirm. At 12:02 a.m., I logged into the family's premium cloud storage, 30 years of Harper memories, photos, legal files, and archives, all billed to Aperture Holdings. I clicked cancel subscription. At 12:03 a.m., I opened the high-level investment platform my father swore was essential to running his fund. Another monthly charge. Terminate. Then the private newsletters, elite financial journals, and analytic tools. Cancel. 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 By 12:05 a.m., every financial lifeline I had been providing was gone. I closed my laptop. This wasn't revenge. It was accounting. For my entire life, I had been the silent investor in my own family, responsible, quiet, capable, and perpetually overlooked. Austin was the heir. I was the utility. When his big startup collapsed and my father teetered on financial ruin, I stepped in. I used my first major payout to buy Skyline Key, a breathtaking penthouse overlooking Biscayne Bay, floor-to-ceiling windows, skyline views, the perfect symbol of success. I bought it anonymously under Aperture Holdings LLC. I didn't even move in. I let my father use it as a showroom for his reputation. I let him host investors there. I let him pretend it proved the Gregory Fund was thriving. I paid the bills quietly from the shadows, convincing myself I was protecting the family. The truth was simpler and far more painful. I was hoping that if I saved them, they would finally see me. You might be asking, Kelsey, why would you do this? Why fund the very stage they used to ignore you? For a long time, I didn't know either. But when you grow up where love is conditional, you learn that your value is your usefulness. You become the fixer, the responsible one, the invisible glue. It's not weakness, it's conditioning. You stay not because you want to, but because you've been trained to believe that if you stop, the whole family collapses. It's a prison without bars. And you're not addicted to the pain, you're addicted to the hope that one day they'll say, "Thank you. We couldn't have done this without you." But that day never comes. They just keep taking. Until a single text at 11:51 p.m. finally shows you that the door was never locked. You were choosing to stay inside. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Comment below what you would have done in this situation. And if you're enjoying this story, give it a like, it really helps the channel. By the time Austin and Dad realized I had cut the funds, it was too late. The penthouse wasn't just a place to entertain investors. It was a stage for their ego, and I had just dimmed the lights. 8:01 a.m. my phone buzzed again. Austin. You're overreacting. Dad's stressed about the investors. Just turn the accounts back on. You're making this bigger than it is. I stared at the screen. My brother couldn't see me. He couldn't see what I had become. To him, I was just a resource, like the water, like the power, like a switch to turn on whenever convenient. Then came my mother, Patricia. Her voice on the voicemail trembled, not with anger, but the kind of practiced theatrics she reserved for the victim role. Kelsey, she said, I just got a call from the leasing office. I don't know what you've done, but it's a terrible mess. You're embarrassing your father. You need to fix this immediately. Fix this. Fix them. Fix everything they broke. And finally, my father. He didn't call. He didn't text. He posted a vague LinkedIn status. True loyalty is tested in difficult times. Sad when some forget the roots that nurtured them. I read it 3 times. They weren't apologetic. They were gaslighting me. Their party. Their investors. Their penthouse. My money. My patience. They assumed I would cry. They assumed I would beg. They assumed I would restore the flow of funds and pretend it was family drama. They were wrong. Because I wasn't just a daughter anymore. I was a founder. I was an owner. I was Aperture Holdings LLC. By 10:30 a.m. I had called Julian. Julian and I had been coding partners in college, long nights in the library, him studying law, me building my first app. Now, he was one of Miami's sharpest IP and real estate lawyers. I explained the situation. The penthouse, I said. The posts. The texts. They think this is family drama. I need you to turn it into a business dispute. They only respect leverage. There was a pause. Then calm and measured. Say no more. Aperture Holdings LLC versus Gregory Fund. I like it. Within 2 hours, I had formal correspondence in my inbox. Ice-cold legalese. To Gregory Harper, acting manager of the Gregory Fund. This letter serves as formal notice that the Gregory Fund is in material breach of its lease agreement with Aperture Holdings LLC for office space at 1400 Bickle Avenue due to non-payment. You have 30 days to cure this default, or Aperture Holdings will terminate the lease and pursue all legal remedies, including immediate eviction and seizure of assets. Attached. A second document, a cease and desist. You must immediately cease using any Aperture Holdings resources for personal matters. Any further attempts to harass or solicit funds will result in legal action. This was not a daughter's argument. This was a declaration of war. I forwarded the email to my father, mother, and brother, no captions. No explanations. Just the law. Let's see them heart this one. 2 days later, while I was deep in code at the penthouse, a red banner flashed on my security monitor. Unauthorized access attempt. Penthouse lobby. I pulled up the live feed. There they were. My father, Gregory, furious. My mother, Patricia, clutching pearls, terrified. Austin, shifting nervously. And a man in a fake maintenance uniform, toolbox in hand. I knew the real building manager. That wasn't him. Through my muted intercom, I heard Gregory's voice, slick, rehearsed. Kelsey, open the door. Emergency. Severe water leak. You're flooding the penthouse below. A classic lie. They didn't know what they were up against. The second his device touched my biometric lock, everything changed. The AI security system I had helped design activated its non-negotiable protocol. Internal/external mics divided. All cameras recording. High-resolution scan of the fake work order. Signature mismatch. Forgery detected. Document flagged as criminal evidence. Live encrypted feed sent to Julian, Director Evans, Head of Building Security, and Miami-Dade authorities. Within 5 minutes, professionals arrived. The locksmith froze. The fake maintenance man froze. Even my father's bravado faltered. Julian's expression was calm, measured, furious, but precise. That work order is a forgery, Gregory. You are committing conspiracy to commit fraud, breaking and entering, and trespassing, he said. My mother cried. My brother looked guilty. The building security director didn't speak, he just radioed it in. Miami-Dade, 454 in progress. Trespassing and criminal mischief. Sending evidence packet now. In that moment, everything shifted. Their illusion of control, built on borrowed money and borrowed respect, collapsed. The penthouse was mine. The law was mine. The leverage was absolute. By the end of the day, Gregory and Austin faced criminal charges. The Gregory Fund's investors pulled out immediately. Their entire financial world evaporated. And me? I was no longer the invisible daughter. I was the owner, the architect, the one who had quietly held the keys all along. If you've ever been underestimated, ignored, or treated like you're just a resource in someone else's story, give this video a like. Comment below. Have you ever had to fight for the respect you earned quietly? I read every single one. Subscribe and ring the bell. The next chapter reveals how I rebuilt everything I lost and created a legacy that's mine, not theirs. The day the police arrived, the reality hit my family like a thunderclap. They weren't facing a frustrated daughter. They were facing the full force of law, technology, and strategy. Gregory's face went white as the officers reviewed the AI's recordings. Patricia's pearls lay scattered on the floor, her sobs echoing against the penthouse walls. Austin tried to speak, but no words could undo the evidence streaming live from my security system. Every stolen dollar, every manipulated account, every fake work order documented, time-stamped, undeniable. The investors who had come to the penthouse expecting to impress themselves on my father? They left with one unanimous conclusion. The Gregory Fund was a liability, and the Harper name no longer meant stability. By that evening, foreclosure notices were in the mail. The cars were repossessed. Their lavish world evaporated, leaving only the stark truth. Their empire had been an illusion, and I held the reality. I sat in the penthouse alone, watching the sunset bleed over the Miami skyline. The view was mine, but more importantly, so was the control. I had built this life quietly, deliberately. Every payment I'd made, every shadow investment, every silent act of support, it had been a seed. And now that seed had grown into a fortress. But the money, the penthouse, the legal victories, those were just tools. They were not the story I wanted to tell. What mattered was what I did with them. I sold the Skyline Key penthouse months later. I took my original $160,000 plus profit and poured it into something bigger than revenge, something that could empower others like me. Skyline Labs was born. No penthouse views. No social pretense. Just a whiteboard covered in ideas, a team of brilliant women, and a program designed to lift female tech founders out of obscurity, the ones overlooked, underestimated, or treated as invisible. My first investment. A young woman developing a revolutionary AI security system. She had brilliance. She had drive. She had potential. All she needed was someone to see her value. And I did. Meanwhile, Gregory and Austin? Reality caught up. Gregory's reputation evaporated along with the fund. Austin's startup dreams died in court filings and foreclosure notices. The $160,000? Reclaimed, reinvested into innovation and education. Their social status? Erased. Their lesson? Priceless. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it's quiet, methodical, unavoidable. I learned something profound through all of this. Your value isn't defined by those who refuse to see it. Your worth isn't negotiable. Your life isn't a stage for others' illusions. You can choose to be invisible, or you can choose to build something so undeniable, so solid, so intelligent that the world has no choice but to respect it. I built my life like that. I built it with clarity, precision, and intention. And for the first time, I felt truly rich. Not because of money, not because of power, because I had finally claimed my own story. So here's the takeaway, for anyone who's been the overlooked, the underestimated, the silent supporter. Stop waiting to be invited to the party. Stop hoping your efforts will be noticed. Build your own. Build it so strong it can't be taken. Build it so smart it anticipates betrayal. Build it so high it rises above the noise. The penthouse, the fund, the lawsuits, those were just steps along the way. The real inheritance? Autonomy, clarity, and self-respect. The real legacy? Truth, power, and the life you design for yourself. If you've ever been made to feel invisible, give this video a like. Comment below what you would do if you were in my shoes. I read every single one. Subscribe and ring the bell. You won't want to miss stories of quiet power and calculated justice. Because the greatest victory isn't what you take back from them. It's what you built for yourself. Your story is your own.